Okay, hi, I'm Chris. How are you? Maybe no one watching. I don't care. I need to build a blueprint, and what I want is this blueprint to work, basically identifying when I, the player, am in a particular area. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a collision volume for this. Okay, so it's going to be a case of when I'm inside the volume and then when I'm outside the volume, so in, out, etc., etc. You get the point. So here's how this is going to work. The first thing I need to do, okay, and I'm doing this from scratch, is I've already got the post process set up. I followed a tutorial for that on building a post process that does this. Okay, now you'll find this on the internet. I can't remember what the heck it's called, but it was a bloody good tutorial and I enjoyed it immensely. But I was like, what if I only want this in a certain place rather than just being called in the level blueprint by a tick, which is a messy way to do things, to be fair. Well, okay, let's work on that. So what I'm going to need, first of all, is I need, well, I've got all this set up. Okay, this is all the stuff that I've got set up from the tutorial I've been watching, and I'm going to build a tutorial basically to track the location of my player in real time. So let me see, window, and I'm going to go to my content browser. Just go to content browser 1. There we are. Okay, and I'm just going to work in here. So my blueprints, I like to work, and BP post processing, that's where it is, because this is where everything is. Okay, so we have here my PP sphere revealer, which I'll just put up here so you can kind of see what it is. Probably not helpful, but this is my post processing material. Quite a lot of maths in there, as you can probably see. Scary. Then I've got an instance of that as well, which is there, and then I've got this parameter here, and then in here I've just got a noise texture. Okay, that's just for the edges. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make myself a nice new blueprint here, and it's just going to be an actor. So right click, blueprint class, parent class is an actor, and I'm going to call this BP. Okay, PP tracking volume. Okay, so I know what it is now. It's BP post processing tracking volume. Okay, and what I want to do is open that up, and inside this I'm just going to define an area just using a collision. So I'll type in col and get box collision. There we go. That's it. Okay, so compile, save. Now the good thing about using it this way is, if I just close this down now, is that I can basically, oh, wait a second, window, content browser, I'll just reopen it a second. Good thing is that I can just basically drop this now anywhere I want. So I'm just going to go to my BP post processing. I've got a filter on just a second, there we go, drop that there. And now basically I can scale it to whatever I like. So I can scale it exactly as wide as I need it to be. And then when I'm inside here, the post processing will take place. Now it's not going to yet. So what I need to do is I need to build a couple of tools to help me with that. So over here. Okay, so this is my test levels level blueprint. Okay, and inside here you can see I'm getting my level player pawn, and then I'm setting some parameter values. So why not just copy these? There we go, Control C. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these into a function. So let's call this function track player. Okay, because that's what we want to do. And then I'm going to pull back, Control V, and just paste it into here. Like so. There we go. Okay, so now what this is going to do is this is going to track our player. Now, on top of this, what I need to do is I need to tell it to use the post process. Okay, seems obvious, but it probably isn't. So, what I need to do is I need to go back to my event graph just here, and under my variables, I'm going to create a new variable called post process volume. Okay, and this is an important one because we're going to need it. So I'm going to make it public, and then over here under variable type, I can literally make it a post-process component should I want, object reference, there we go, compile and save. Now look, there was an error during compilation. What is it? Can't find a variable for player position. Well, let's look at that. Okay, so we're getting our player pawn, getting our actual location and set player position. Probably isn't going to work for us, is it? Because we're going to need to do a cast instead, because this isn't a level blueprint. So what I'll do is I'll do a cast to ch player character child, and then as that I should be able to get its location of the child instead. Click compile and save. Okay, player position here. Could not find a variable named player position in BP PP tracking volume C. Well, that's what I've got here, okay? So I need to make this player position a variable. So unlink that, right click and promote that to a variable. Here's player position. Okay, so player position now is an active variable. I can now set player position, which is a vector. There we go. So put that into there, connect that to there, and then connect that across to there. Compile and save. Oh no, another error. Player position X, Y, and Z. Could not find a variable named player position. Eek. Well, actually we can. So it's here. Get player position, and we'll split our structural pin, and we'll just redo it. Okay, so basically, because I've been following on this tutorial, what I've done is just put these parameters into here, take this, put it down there. Okay, so now player position X, Y, and Z are being tracked. Let's try it again. Compile, save. There's no object in our track player. Okay, well, let's do the get player pawn instead and see if that's going to help us. So get player pawn. I should be able to use this as our values, to be quite honest. Now, there we go. So it's quite happy with that because I've now got this, and it's all going to go straight down here. Okay, so that's one thing. Now I don't want this turned on all the time. This post-process volume. So one of the things I need to do is I need to turn it on and turn it off when it's time. So let's go back to our main event graph. Okay, here it is over here. And the only thing I'm interested in at the minute is my event actor begin overlap. Now, firstly, let's check it works. So I'm just going to drag out a print. I always do this because I'm very paranoid. So there we are, print. And right click, play from here. And in my top left corner, I should see, hello, it's friendly. Hello. Perfect. Okay. So with that done, what I want to do is get rid of that. And instead, I'm going to call timer by function, or call function by timer. I probably need to drag this out here actually this way. So let me see, am I on the right one? BPP, yep. Call func. Call function track player. Okay, so there it is there. So now what it's going to do is it's going to call my function inside of this blueprint. Okay. Now I could also set a timer by function name, and if I use set function by timer by function name, then what's going to happen is this is going to do this, but it's going to do it every however many times I want it to, and this is going to be more efficient than using a tick. So I'm going to do that instead. Let's do that and delete that. Now my function name is track player. Okay, so I'll get a reference to track player here, or I can just type in function name track player. Remember to keep caps and all that kind of biz, you know, going the way it is. Now we could do with a timer. So promote to variable, okay, and we're going to call this. We'll call this timer interval. Okay, now that's a float at the minute, and let's give it a default value because it needs to be above 0, otherwise that's no good to us. So I'm just talking to my son at the same time, lovely chap. Okay, so this will happen maybe once every third of a second, so it's going to be a little bit clunky, but at the same time it's not going to be dragging our system to its knees. Okay, and we can tweak that. Our timer interval is tweakable. In fact, we can probably put that there and just make it like so, you see. Now we also have our post-process volume here, so that's inside this default. Post-process volume, yep, that's already called, that's public. Let's put it in the category called controls, which I always spell wrongly, so you know, it could be right this time, it's probably wrong. Put that there. Time interval, post-process volume, the important ones, saved. Pile, save. Okay, so what's going to happen now is when I go into this, it's going to set the tracking of the player, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to unlink my graph. Okay, so compile, save. Excellent. Okay, so with that done, what I want to do now is I'm going to go over to, and remember I'm just kind of spitballing here, okay, but I've been doing Unreal for a little while, so I can kind of get the hang of it. Now this is looping. Okay, so that's great, we want that to loop. Now rather than doing a stop timer, I think what I can do is I can have looping set to a boolean, and I could stop it that way. Okay, or another thing I could do is I could probably just stop a function using a, what do you call it, a node. So let me just check. I'm going to check. I think it's stop timer. Always used to be stop timer. Just give me a second. Thankfully, I have my Unreal Engine documentation to read my way through, which is always helpful. Never be embarrassed to use the manual, by the way. Unreal Engine has one of the best goddamn timers. Okay, set timer. Clear timer. There we go. Oh, much easier. Okay, so this is looping, because it's obviously going to have to loop. I don't need to set looping as a what do you call it? I don't need to set looping as a variable. There's no point. Now, something else I need to do on the event actor begin overlap is I need to get a reference to my post-process volume. There it is. And I need to turn it on. Now, that's important. So if I go to my post-process volume here, and I will turn on lit. There we go, just so we can kind of see it. There it is. Okay, now, if I come down here to the VV bottom, okay, we've got a few things here like enabled. That's an important one, enabled. Right? So if I turn enabled off, what I'm going to do instead over here is set enabled on. So now on event actor begin overlap, let's pull a sequence. Okay, so in our sequence, it's going to do two things. One, it's going to do that, and then two, it's going to do that. Okay, so all it's doing is it's going to our timer, and it's going to our overlap, sorry, and it's going, hey buddy, I like what you're doing there. Let's turn on our post-process volume, and then let's set timer by function name. Dead easy. Okay, so let's have an event actor end overlap. Okay, so event actor end overlap. Very simple because we're just using this, you know, this box basically as our thing. So again, we're going to do a sequence. So I'll just grab this just to save us some time. Control C, Control V. Don't worry if I'm going a bit fast. That's why we have a pause button on the YouTube. There we go. Drag that down a bit because I like it to be a little bit tidier. And then we can have clear timer. So clear timer by function name, and the function name is going to be track player again. Remember your caps. Okay, so let's have a look at that. Compile and save. Lovely. Now with this one I'm going to compile and save, and I've basically detached all of that stuff from it. Okay, so where did I dump my blueprint? Because I've dumped it somewhere, I know what I'm like. BP, PP, tracking volume. Now, let's make it easy for me to find. So I'm just going to place it, oops, not there. Silly old Chris. Let's move it over here, so it's inside this little room. So when I get in this room, that's when the stuff's going to happen. And I can see it's not happening at the minute, that's fine by me. So let's click play, Probably suffer some fall damage. Oh. Okay, let's go in here and see if this works. Oh, we didn't enable it. Why didn't you enable the post-process volume? We ask ourselves. Well, let's find out, shall we? I know why. Dismiss. Dismiss. Okay, show error log. Clear. Go away, error log. You're in the way. Okay, never mind. Okay, let's go up here. Post-process volume. Well, it should be choosing one, shouldn't it? It should be choosing BP, PP, tracking volume. But for some reason, it's not. Okay, well, that's okay. Let's just choose an actor. That'll make it easier. So I'll go back to my event graph. There it is. Look at my variables. There we go, event graph. And let's change my post-process volume variable type to an actor. Just a straight flat actor, okay? So go down here, grab an actor, object reference. Yeah, change variable type, I don't mind. Okay, now all I'll do is I'll reconnect that to that. Give it a minute, just in case it tries to crash. It's looking to, it's going to look through my entire project, which is quite large, to see if, you know, that's going to happen. Right, now I need to post-process and volume here enabled. Okay, is actor tick enabled? So enable the post-process volume. Compile, save. Ooh, got some errors here, a bit higher up as well. Let's get rid of that one. There we go. Get rid of that one. Now, because I'm calling this post-process volume, okay, it's causing me a little bit of a headache here, because I can't call it over here, you'll notice either. So, what I'm doing is instead, I'm calling it as an actor, okay, here it is. And with my actor, what I can do is, I could take a copy of its scale, if I wanted to, store that as a variable, and then rescale it down to 0, or scale it back up again. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it could be just, you know, activate, deactivate. Oh no, bad blueprint. Hang on, compile, save. There, it's a good blueprint now. So let's have a look. Again, you get to join me as I just spitball my way through this, because this is how I work. Isn't that good? Okay, post-process volume. So this is an actor. Now, will visible work? Set actor hidden in-game. Let's try that. Let's try unhidden. And then for this one, let's try hidden. Now this may not necessarily work because post-processors are a bit weird like that, but you know, give it a go. So save. Now, post-process volume. Let's come back to that. Go all the way down. Turn off the old active button. Here we are. That's enabled. And I'll try and find hidden. There is no hidden. Great. Well, that's good news. Infinite extent. Unbound. This one Yorks, isn't it? Never mind. I'll just keep chucking on as it. Oh, I do like a challenge. Okay, let's change post-process back. Post-process volume, change variable type yet again. Yeah, just stop looking, you're not going to find anything. Right, let's delete these. Compile, save. Firstly, let me see if I can pick up a post-process volume. That would be a big help. There it is. Brilliant. So I can. Okay, because I have the wrong kind of variable. Silly Chris. Okay, and now the setting I want is at the bottom of my post-process volume. So again, that is enabled. So turn it off here. Turn it on here. Set. Enabled. Yinkies. Done. Okay, let's do it again down here. Oh, right, I don't need that one. Go away. Ha ha ha. Right, change this one. Enabled, off. Set, enabled. Yinkies. Done. Okay, let's do it again down here. Enabled. Yinkies. Done. Okay, let's do it again down here. Enabled, off. Set, enabled. Yinkies. Done. Okay, let's do it again down here. Enabled, off. and clear timer. Okay, compile, save, groovy. So let's have a look and see what our system's doing before I go in there. So it's going to, on overlap, turn the post-process volume on, and then at the end it's going to turn the post-process volume off again. I can see that it's correct, like the location and everything, so let's try it from over here. Boink. Let's go in, and there we go. That, you see, it's updating it, but it isn't updating its location enough. If you look, it's just literally turned it on there, and then turned it off again. So the actual location of my player is incorrect. Otherwise, you know, I would be here, and it thinks I'm over there. Okay, so this means that the actual tracking itself is off. So let's go to track player. Here's my track player, and we're pulling the information from get player pawn, get actual location, which I haven't really put into anything. That would explain a lot, so let's put that into there. I bet people, you back at home in jolly old wherever the flip you are land, were going, Chris, you duffer, you got it wrong. Okay, so let's go through here. Great. And what it's doing is it's only updating every third of a second or something like that now. Okay, so it's not updating constantly, it's just updating enough. Great. Like that. Okay, so now I've got that working. Isn't that lovely?